Well, well, well. It should come as no surprise, considering that Christmas has come early for us in a lot of ways. Last year, when Hasbro PulseCon revealed Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom to us, a couple of days before that, IGN News revealed some of the early product for us to see. So it comes as no surprise that this time around, we also get some early reveals of the Transformers Legacy line, or as it's called here, Transformers Generations Legacy for the brand. Now, this is some interesting stuff to say the least because it gives us an idea of the aesthetic that this line is going for, the parts rollout, the general kind of planning and engineering that these characters will have, both in terms of plastic injection molding, paint deco, or otherwise. But also, what this tells us is what a centralized overall, I guess we'll call it, in-lore gimmick will be for this. And I'm going to get into that in a moment because there's something going on here under the surface that even the IGN article here does not address. Now, we're shown two characters. We're shown a Deluxe class figure and a Voyager figure from the leaks that we've seen online. We know that there's going to be a core class Deluxe, Voyager, leader class, Commander, and Titan. So get ready for those possibly in the next couple of days. Maybe not so much the Commander class and the Titan. Those will be more later in the year kind of reveals. But this is interesting. So let's dive into these two and what we have going on here. And the first one we have is a Transformers Generations Legacy. This is the name that we're going to be going with, I guess, instead of Transformers Legacy. Generation Legacy or Generations Legacy. Even the article has two different listings for it. We'll see what Hasbro calls it ultimately in the end. But a Transformers Generations Legacy Deluxe class Autobot Skids. Now, when we first saw the Transformers Jurassic Park Autobot JP3, crossover thing, a lot of people were assuming that mold was going to be used to make Skids later on. And I didn't really think so because I thought it was a little too big for the character of Skids compared to that of the leader class mold that was used for the T-Rex. But that's what people thought, and I still stand by. I feel like that mold will see action, but I see it as a Armada Red Alert kind of thing. But lo and behold, it's not the case. This is a brand new sculpt for Skids here from the ground up, a Deluxe class. And I think he looks great. I mean, obviously there's some hollowing issues in his legs and stuff like that in terms of the transformation and how that's being done. But that's just also the normal way that things seem to be done with Transformers today in terms of plastic costs and everything like that. There still is a lot of holes all over the figure for plugging in weaponizers or any kind of little weapon points and stuff. So the gimmick of that is going to continue. But I think he looks great. They're going with that, again, cartoon aesthetic for Skids with that kind of look instead of leaning more on a toy design or that of the real Honda City Turbo, which is what actually the Masterpiece is going to be doing. It's interesting because we have Skids here that's going to be coming out with the Legacy line, and we also have a Masterpiece of Skids that's going to be coming out, which then leads to the next thing. Get ready, Transformers Generation Selects on Hasbro Pulse. There's probably going to be tons of repaints of this guy in the future. The Reboost Red repaint, the Silver Crosscut repaint. We'll see plenty of these in the future, so get ready for new head sculpts and new retools from this character in the future. Very cool. I dig it. Skids is a popular character with people mostly because of the comics now. He was pretty cool in the Marvel books also. Had a very limited run, unfortunately, in the cartoon. I actually did a tweet where I summed up every single Skids line and appearance in like less than 2 minutes on Twitter. I did a little post about that. It was kind of sad, but I mean, hey, Skids is a cool design. Honda City Turbo has a lot of deep lineage and history in Japan, so it's a cool car. Comes with his two traditional weapons and a third weapon. Now, this is what I'm talking about in terms of what's going to be the overarching gimmick or I guess we'll call it toyetic lore within everything, is between both Skids and the other figure here today that we'll discuss in a moment, there seems to be a third included weapon that isn't traditionally associated with these characters. In the case of Skids here, he has his 2 guns that he comes with that was associated with both his original G1 toy and his appearances in fiction. And then he comes with this clear plastic blue Energon axe looking kind of weapon. And it's very interesting that that included, and it's kind of a very stark contrast of everything else that this character has on him in terms of weapons. So I think that they're going to be going with some kind of gimmick where every character is going to come with some kind of clear extra weapon that isn't normally associated with that character. It reminds me a lot of the Transformers Robot Masters line that Japan put out, man, it was almost 20 years ago now that I think about it, where every character was either a repaint, remold of something that existed in Transformers history, or brand new molds from the ground up that came with an extra weapon that, again, was not associated with that character normally. And those extra weapons were either a clear kind of plastic, I guess missile launcher, whatever, or some kind of chrome kind of included extra weapon, all based on the Solitarium energy that they were hunting in the Robot Masters little subline there. So it gives me that kind of Solitarium vibe that it's coming with a little extra weapon. Some people could even argue it's also kind of like the Transformers Energon line, where characters also came with extra Energon weapons and accessories, more specifically the Omnicons and the Terracons. So we'll see what happens with that. It is very interesting that it's coming with these extra weapons. Maybe in a lot of ways, this is the way that this line is able to tie everything to the legacy of Transformers. Because we have Armada characters that are confirmed to be in this. We have Cybertron characters. We have Transformers Prime characters, Generation 1, Beast Wars. Everything is there. And it doesn't surprise me. Hey, how do we get the Energon element or the Japanese Solitarium Robot Masters element? Through an accessory, I guess. Either way, next up we have a Voyager class, and the way that they list it here, they call it Voyager Prime Universe Bulkhead. Maybe all the Prime characters will be called Prime Universe. So we have Voyager class Prime Universe Bulkhead. Now, it's interesting the aesthetic that they went with him, but I think it might have to do with the fact from what were the rumors online and the listings that leaked online earlier, was that Bulkhead here is supposedly a repaint and extensive retool of a shared Voyager class Optimus Prime also in this line. So when you see that truck chest on Bulkhead, it's probably more so because of what it's being pulled from also in terms of design, aesthetic, engineering, and it being, shared with an Optimus Prime toy. That's at least what we've been told. We'll find out definitely more in the future. Personally, I think that even though they call this Voyager class, Prime Universe Bulkhead, I feel that it really is a fusion of a lot of different things. I feel that it has a little bit of the movie Hound in some ways, because let's be honest, movie Hound really is just Bulkhead. It has a little bit of Transformers Animated Bulkhead, it has a little bit of Transformers Prime Bulkhead, and then it has that DNA of the potential Optimus Prime Voyager class toy that this is all remolded from. So it's a little bit of everything going on. I mean, it's interesting. I like that the canopy on the back kind of makes his shield and stuff, that also gives the opportunity to not have too much extra, I guess, baggage in the back that could be on the legs and everything. It also probably leads to how the transformation for the Optimus will work if it does have some kind of a trailer. It's very interesting. I want to see the Optimus because it'll probably give us more of the story in terms of the tooling and stuff. But that canopy becomes a shield, and then of course he has his traditional, ball and chain kind of wrecking gimmick that he's always had all the way back to his initial animated incarnation. But like I mentioned before with the Skids, there's an extra third accessory here, and it's a clear chain gun that goes over his shoulder. So also a clear accessory. This chain gun could go on his shoulder. It could also be held as an individual weapon, much like with the Skids, where this Energon axe, it looks like it could be something that plugs on his back. It could be used as an axe, but because it has extra plug points, it also could be used kind of as a gun, I guess. So multiple different ways that this little turret could be used, this clear turret. And again, it leads to this overarching kind of toy aesthetic that maybe every character is going to come with a clear blue accessory that's like that Solitarium from Robot Masters or the Energon weapons from Energon. Very, very, very interesting. Now, the information that IGN put here, there isn't an MSRP listed, so we don't know the prices yet, although we could probably figure it out with the increasing prices that are coming up for next year. But they did say here this will be available for pre-order Friday, October 22nd on Hasbro Pulse. I believe it's going to be after 4 p.m. as they listed on Hasbro Pulse's schedule. And most major toy retailers. So if you can't do it through Hasbro Pulse, probably other websites will also, they'll give you those opportunities if needed. So don't freak out if you don't have a Hasbro Pulse premium account. Those opportunities will present themselves. So this is interesting stuff. I dig it a lot. This is pretty cool. Obviously, we're going to learn more information come this Friday, and we'll have way more to talk about. They're going to show the Core class. They're going to show the Deluxe, the Voyager, and Leader class. So we'll jump into that when that time comes. Be sure to tune in Friday on Transformers Slag, where we're going to break it all down and make sense of everything. And get ready, guys, because Transformers Generation Legacy is coming.